Thorndike was a psychologist who studied animal learning. In a classic set of experiments, he placed cats in a specially designed puzzle box that could be opened by operating a latch. The cats learned to open the box through a process of trial and error. Over time, behaviors that were followed by favorable consequences became more likely, while those that were followed by unfavorable consequences became less likely, a process that Thorndike called the law of effect. This work inspired psychologist B.F. Skinner, who focused his research on operant conditioning, a learning process in which voluntary behavior is shaped by its consequences. To study this, he created an operant conditioning chamber, sometimes called a Skinner box, which is an enclosed box that contains a bar that an animal can press to obtain food or water, and the number of presses is automatically recorded by the apparatus. Using this box and other methods, Thorndike and Skinner observed that the frequency with which specific behaviors occur depends on their outcomes. Outcomes that increase the frequency of behaviors are called reinforcers. In positive reinforcement, a desired stimulus follows behavior and increases the frequency of the behavior. For example, if pressing a bar leads to a food pellet, bar pressing will increase. In negative reinforcement, removing an undesired stimulus following a behavior leads to an increase in that behavior. For example, if pressing a bar shuts off an ear-splitting alarm, bar pressing will increase. So both positive and negative reinforcement increase the likelihood that a behavior will occur. In contrast, punishment decreases the frequency of the response. There are two types of punishment. In positive punishment, an aversive stimulus follows behavior and leads to a decrease in that behavior. For example, an animal that gets an electric shock for pressing a bar will stop pressing that bar. Negative punishment decreases behavior by removing a desired stimulus following the behavior. For example, an animal that gets its food removed every time it moves towards the bar will eventually stay on the opposite side of the enclosure. There are many different types of reinforcers. Primary reinforcers satisfy biological needs like food and water. Social reinforcers like hugs, smiles, and friendly greetings satisfy our need for social connectedness. Secondary reinforcers are neutral stimuli that are associated with primary and social reinforcers. For example, a reward system may provide people with cash or points that can be exchanged for other reinforcers, like how a child might earn points for chores that they can exchange for a toy. A schedule of reinforcement is a rule that describes how frequently a behavior is reinforced. Different schedules yield different behavioral outcomes. In fixed ratio reinforcement, a reinforcer is delivered after a fixed number of correct responses occurs, like getting paid after completing a fixed number of tasks, like stuffing 100 envelopes. This schedule produces rapid and steady learning, but the behavior usually stops quickly after the reinforcer stops being delivered. In variable ratio reinforcement, a reinforcer is delivered after a varying number of required responses occurs. Slot machines operate on a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. The number of times the lever must be pulled in order to get a payout is randomly determined by the machine. This type of schedule produces slower learning because lever pulls aren't so strongly linked to the reward. However, once learned, the behavior is highly resistant to extinction. This is why slot machines are so addictive. The player never knows when the next payoff is going to arrive, so they keep pulling the lever, assuming it will happen after just one more pull. In fixed interval reinforcement, a reinforcer is delivered following the first required response after a fixed period of time has elapsed, such as getting a paycheck after 2 weeks of working. For animals in a Skinner box, this schedule produces a scalloped performance curve. Behavior increases rapidly just before the anticipated reinforcer occurs, and then declines rapidly and remains low until the reinforcer is due. In variable interval reinforcement, a reinforcer is delivered after a varying period of time has elapsed. Surfing is an example of variable interval reinforcement. The length of time a surfer must wait before another suitable wave arrives can vary anywhere from a few seconds to several minutes. Like variable ratio reinforcement, variable interval reinforcement produces slower learning that is nonetheless highly resistant to extinction because the learners don't know how long they'll have to wait for the payoff and will ultimately wait longer. operant conditioning can be a powerful means of modifying and deterring behavior across a wide range of applications. For example, people often train their dogs using shaping, reinforcing small steps that lead to a complex desired behavior. It is also used to shape the behavior of children. Parents often try to increase the frequency of pro-social behaviors with rewards while trying to decrease anti-social behaviors through punishment. For this training of both dogs and tiny humans to be effective, the consequences must be consistent, immediate, and effective. Ultimately, rewards are much more useful in shaping behavior than punishments. And importantly, punishments such as spanking may accidentally teach aggressive behavior. While this is important to consider, we also know that overusing rewards can decrease motivation. This happens because there is an important distinction between intrinsic motivation, a drive to engage in a behavior because one finds the behavior itself rewarding, and extrinsic motivation, a drive to engage in a behavior in order to obtain an external reward or to avoid punishment. Most children enjoy reading storybooks and will do so on their own to entertain themselves. But if they are instead rewarded for reading, reading becomes less intrinsically rewarding for them, and the time they spend reading might decline. This decrease of intrinsic motivation as a result of building extrinsic motivation through excessive external rewards is called the over-justification effect. Children also learn how to behave through observational learning, or learning that occurs by watching the behavior of others, and modeling, the process of demonstrating a behavior so that another can learn it vicariously. Vicarious reinforcement occurs when an individual observes another person receiving a reinforcement for a behavior. Watching someone else get a reward makes it more likely that people will imitate that behavior. However, bad behavior will also be imitated. When children aged 3 to 6 watched adults behaving aggressively towards a plastic blow-up clown named Bobo, they were likely to imitate the behavior. Children of this age also imitate the behavior of cartoon characters for both pro-social and aggressive behaviors. So simply observing behavior and its consequences without actually participating in the behavior can still lead to learning.